Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Sharpshooting podcast. This is a special edition of the podcast, something we've never done before, and we want you guys to let us know if you want us to do it again, because I'm sure me and Pete would be more than happy to do it. I'm Mike. Pete, say what's up to the people.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? First NXT pay-per-view. I think it's the first of many, to be perfectly honest. I've definitely, since you put me on to NXT, I've been captivated by the superstars. I really enjoy NXT, both weekly, but we'll stick. I don't think we'll review NXT weekly. We'll just leave NXT for the pay-per-views. I think that's how we're going to go about it.
Yeah,
So we hope you guys enjoy the show and stay tuned.
I don't know. Did you want to maybe possibly like throw it in at the tail end of the podcast? Because we've been doing the podcast later in the week. We actually do it late enough to actually consider. Well, we'll discuss that later.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We'll do that.
Anyway, let's just go ahead and get into this pay-per-view, which, as always, at least from my point of view, they delivered once again, and made me wonder why the hell WWE can't contain this magic and put it into their main roster product.
Yeah, I think it really gives you a clear indication of the difference in views and how how the wrestling industry looks with Vince in charge and how the future looks with Triple H in charge. And it's exciting times on NXT, just seeing the talent, the way they push. Even the divas are getting a heavy push over there. So there's a lot to work with there, and I can't wait for a lot of these superstars and divas to come up to the main roster and help out the group, because I'm telling you, WWE is heading in the right direction in terms of their younger wrestlers.
Yeah, definitely. The only thing I would say I don't like about NXT at the moment would be, I guess maybe it's a little too short. Although that's a good thing in a way, because I feel like I don't get to see enough. But at the same time, it kind of builds that I want to see more, so you are building up my hunger, my desire to keep watching it. So it's a double-edged sword. It works, but it can also be annoying at the same time. Other than that, I mean, NXT is it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
I think it's good to note with NXT as well that it's an hour each week, I'm pretty sure, and the pay-per-views are 2 hours, but it feels like they get so much crammed in. Like, I feel like a episode of NXT, or the weekly episode of NXT with all the wrestling, you actually feel like you're watching wrestling. Raw, you're getting 3 hours. It's 2.5 really if you cut out the ads. But it's just a lot of talking and a lot of this, a lot of that. It's just nice and refreshing to see an hour of just straight raw, like just so much content packed into one. I think it just works well.
Yeah, it definitely does have that old school feel where you used to watch like the Saturday night wrestling show that was only an hour, but you saw like 4 or 5 matches, so you were happy.
Yeah.
That
So,
that is
uh,
NXT.
yeah. So without further ado, let's actually get into NXT Unstoppable now. I've seen Cobra everywhere, but yeah, like you said at the start, it's NXT Takeover, and then they have something after it, so Unstoppable. So we'll start with, obviously, the very start. It kicks off, and you find out that Hideo Itami has been attacked pre-show, and he will no longer be competing in the triple threat match. And that was news to me because I don't really pay attention to NXT outside of the show, so I haven't really heard anything on injuries and of that front. But you were stating that Hideo Itami was injured.
Yeah, he kind of had a serious shoulder injury. I forget which match it was, but Yeah, his injury was it wasn't you know it was a mistake. It was like an accidental injury that sidelined him. So I thought that was brilliant. And again, this goes back to the old school way of doing things, how you remove someone from the roster. Whereas with the Daniel Bryan thing, they kind of, you know, they hit it until they felt like they couldn't hide it anymore, and then they had to make a public announcement. Whereas with NXT, it goes back to how it was when people thought wrestling was real. Whereas, a superstar doesn't just disappear for no reason. He doesn't just leave the roster, or he doesn't just come out and tell people, "Hey, I just gotta go." It it has something leading to a building. Like you found a Tommy in the parking lot, sprawled out. Who attacked him? What's going on? How long is he going to be out? You've just built a lot of drama because you don't know who did it, why, how. It's a mystery. So you get people invested, especially, fans of Atami. Now they want to know what's happened to my favorite wrestler. What's going on? You know what I mean? So even though we know in reality what's going on with him, I still like the idea that they're playing up the drama of the medium because that's what you should do anyway. You should always. So who cares that we all know that wrestling is fake? We like watching wrestling because of its entertainment value, and part of that entertainment value was always the storylines. And this is an entertaining storyline, so I thought they did a really good job by actually having that put in place before the match came out.
Yeah. So let's get into it. It was the first match of the kickoff match for NXT Unstoppable was Tyler Breeze versus Finn Balor. Balor. I always have troubles pronouncing his name, but definitely two very talented wrestlers. To be honest with me, I don't really like Tyler Breeze's character. I mean, I know a lot of people do. It's that Derek Zoolander kind of character in my eyes.
Yeah.
But his entrance, he came out, he did like the fashion show thing. He's taking the pictures, you know how he does. And Finn Balor came out and did some crazy, like, holy shit, absolutely insane. He had like the freaking, there were like spikes in his back, sort of thing, that looked like a damn dinosaur. He ends up coming to the ring, and then he's got like an eye on his back. It just looked insane.
Yeah, I don't know how he keeps topping what he's done every pay-per-view. It's like every pay-per-view it gets bigger and it gets crazier. I don't. Eventually, he's gonna run out of ideas. He's got to. Or if I
Yeah,
were him, I'd at least chill on the crazy pay-per-view intros and just relax, let them go away for a while. So once you hit the main roster, you can do something that'll be extremely insane. I mean, I don't know how he comes up with it, but it was amazing. I mean,
yeah,
it was already sick with the the bat wings and the spikes, but then he takes off the overcoat and you see that eyeball. It's like, oh my god, how many hours must he have sat while they drew that on him?
yeah,
Gee.
yeah. No, that's so true. So, talking the match, Tyler Breeze versus Finn Balor, obviously they would have all assumed it was going to be a. Oh well, the commentators were hinting they all had planned for a triple threat. Now it's a singles match, yada yada yada. But this match was actually. It was actually alright. Like, I don't know, Finn Balor, for me, I find him very entertaining in the ring. I think he's a real good talent. And the match went, in a sense, it was kind of back and forth. There was one bit I was kind of confused. It was like Finn Balor went out of the ring and he went up the ramp. And then he just kind of disappeared. And then you had Tyler Breeze go up the ramp to, like, try and find him. And then he just jumped out of nowhere. I had no idea what was going on. And then he ended up climbing the what's it called? The ramp, the stage sort of thing. he climbed it and he jumped off onto Tyler Breeze. So the match was actually pretty exciting, and I mean, as far as I've watched NXT, for as long as I've watched NXT, Finn Balor's been pretty prominent. He's always been in the title picture. I don't think he's won the title per se, but he's definitely been there.
He has it.
Yeah, doing this, I really feel like I kind of, if I was to put predictions, if we had done NXT predictions for this pay-per-view, I probably would have said Finn Balor. But definitely an exciting match. Did you see anything you liked from the match?
Like I said, I missed most of the match, unfortunately. Shout out to Domel for letting me know it was on. Just Finn Balor's work in the ring is really good. He's been well trained in Japan. The things he do, the creativity. I'm glad they let him do the double foot stomp. I'm glad they didn't decide, well, this may be some lawsuit thing, and they make him get rid of that. I kind of wish they would let Bloody Sunday be his finishing moves. Don't know what Bloody Sunday is, just look it up. It was his finisher in Japan. But I understand why, especially with the injury issue, even though he's so technically sound with it. Yeah, I know WWE doesn't want to even try to flirt with that disaster, but he just knows how to work. Like, he knows how to put on a good, entertaining match. That's the thing that I always like about him. So it didn't surprise me that he put on a good match. Tyler Breeze, honestly, is very underrated. That dude, he can put on some pretty impressive matches too. He may not be the best wrestler on the roster, but he's legit. He's definitely legit. You know, like his gimmick or not, he's pretty legit in the ring. So it was a good matchup. I mean, I kind of wish Hideo was there, but hey, Finn is definitely a good enough replacement.
Yeah, I think it's important to mention that this match, I think it ended up going for around 10 minutes, but it was like NXT, I gotta give credit, they always know the time limit a match should go for. Like, they're always on point. Like, if a match is like that, it's just a weird knowing. It's like a weird understanding. Like, no matches on NXT for me really overstay their welcome, and this was the exact same. Like, you feel some matches in WWE they go too short, or some matches in WWE they go too long. I feel like in NXT they've really got a good mix of how long a match should go for in terms of keeping people entertained and whatnot.
Yeah, I agree. They seem to know when it's time to call it quits. They have a very good sense of timing, and maybe that's something that people like Triple H, William Regal, all of them, all the people who they have working with these guys down there. I mean, they have some great people working with these youngsters in NXT, the people who are trying to make it to the main roster. And maybe they're going about it in that old school style, like I was telling you about in the last podcast about how it used to be when there were territories and indies wasn't really a thing. It seems like the people who are part of the development team want to get these guys to be actually good professional wrestlers, not just WWE superstars. You know. So.
Yeah, no, that's a fair statement. So overall, it was a solid match to kick off Unstoppable. Nothing too over the top besides Finn Balor's entrance, but the result was definitely the one I expected, and I think it was the right move. But moving to the second match, and I just want to note that there are 2 Divas matches in this pay-per-view. Now, let me repeat that. There are 2 Divas matches in this pay-per-view, because if you just watch WWE like I used to, you know that the Divas get their 2 minutes. In NXT, they actually get a proper run. They get some proper screen time. And that's probably why the Divas division is a lot more entertaining, let's be real. You get to see more of them. But the second match is a Divas tag team match, Bayley and Charlotte versus Dana Brooke and Emma. I obviously have to know who Emma is. I have no choice, simply because she's Australian. And any Australian, any successful Australian ends up in my radar. But again, this one wasn't bad. It wasn't the worst. Like Bailey's really over right now, especially with the crowd. And she nearly fell over at the start of this when she was doing her entrance. Got a bit too carried away. But Charlotte looks like she's almost ready to hit the main roster. I feel like they've
Oh
taken
no, she's
her out.
been ready. I think she's just waiting patiently at this point.
Yeah, because
Go.
you can kind of tell simply because the fact she's out of the she's out of the NXT Women's Championship picture now. She's doing a few side things, and it looks like Bayley's the next in line to go up to the Women's Championship. So Charlotte should be just about ready. It should be soon that she comes up.
Yeah,
But
I can't wait.
yeah, it started as expected. Obviously, having two faces versus two heels, it started how everyone expected it to. You have the heels; they start first. They work well together, and Emma was doing the typical heel thing. She'd beat her down, and then she'd copy her moves and stuff, like the arms in the air, all that stuff. Basically taunting, and that basically allowed Bayley to make the tag to Charlotte. And when Charlotte gets in the ring, it's just so exciting. Charlotte has it's weird because her dad was just so good as well. Like, I don't know, those families, she must have been doing wrestling her whole life. Like, that's the only way I can see it.
The funny thing about her with me is that I know most people won't say this, but she might be better than her dad. And the only reason I say that is because her dad was a very solid technical wrestler who he knew his craft. He was great with ring psychology. The moves, he knew when to throw moves, things like that. He knew how to pace. Ric Flair is probably one of the, if not the greatest wrestler when you look at the totality of the personality, skill set, everything. Ric Flair was like the definition of wrestling. She can be very technical. She has shown that she can be good, with the psychology. She's not as good as her dad on the mic, but that's kind of hard to do because Ric Flair on the mic is like ridiculous. But
He could be one of the best, if not the best. Like, definitely in the top. Like, for me, top mic people off the top of my head would be Paul Heyman. You would have Ric Flair, and for like the last spot, it's really a toss up. I mean, The Rock was really good, Cena's really good, or Dusty Rhodes was really good as well.
yeah, well, I don't know if I put Cena up there with them, but I get what you're going, because like I've said this before, Cena's not terrible on the mic. He's not as bad as people like to play. People just don't like Cena. That's all. But he's actually pretty good on the mic. You just don't like hearing him. That's all.
Yeah, I think Cena. The thing that really sparks me with Cena is he's one of the only current wrestlers that can actually on the spot just go with it. You can tell a lot of his stuff isn't scripted. In a sense, like, there's obviously the stuff that is scripted, but he has the ability to, like, just in a click of a finger, just take a completely different route. Very creative on the mic, I gotta say. But like you said, Charlotte, not as good as Ric Flair on the mic for Charlotte, but
her athleticism is what separates her from her dad. Her dad has never been that athletic. She's just a ridiculous athlete.
Yeah, I mean, the result was as expected. Charlotte ended up picking up the pin with the natural selection, so Charlotte and Bayley go over. But, I mean, really, I kind of feel disappointed for Emma, in a sense, because Emma had a shocking year on the main roster. Like, absolutely terrible. And she's back in NXT, and she's not doing much there either, which is quite depressing, especially because I'm pretty, as far as I know, she's the first Australian to ever reach the main roster on Raw. That's as far as I know, and to see, and I think they really just elevated her because she was Australian. Like,
No, I mean, probably because they need divas. I mean, the reality is they need divas. That's the thing. In the main roster, it's really thin. What divas they have, maybe a quarter of them can actually perform in the ring well. The rest are just a bunch of pretty girls who can catfight for the most part.
yeah,
That's just the reality of it.
no, that's a fair statement. But yeah, overall, this match, it wasn't bad. I mean, like I said, Bayley and Charlotte are just really over at the moment, and any chance to see Charlotte wrestle is a good one.
Yeah.
Like, just absolutely entertaining. But we'll move on to the third match. And third match, to me, I don't know, like Baron Corbin versus Rhino. This was, in my opinion,
It was the weakest match on the card.
yeah,
For me.
yeah. That I was basically going to say that. I mean, Rhino's been pretty dominant on NXT, and he called out Baron Corbin. And Baron Corbin has he lost yet?
Yeah, he lost to Neville.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah. This match was just kind of like, I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. Like, it was just kind of like is that in between? Like,
Let's just be honest. It was an interesting brawl for what it was, but it could have been left off the. At least for me, it could have been left off the card.
Yeah,
Baron Corbin, I like his look. I like his gimmick. He needs to be trained a little bit more, in my opinion, because his move sets. I think the reason why it broke down into a brawl is because this guy doesn't really have a lot of moves yet. He has a fit, which I find weird, because how do you have a finisher, but you don't really have a move set? I would think that you would develop your move set first before you finish it. Am I weird for thinking that?
no, you're definitely right there. we can't disagree with that. But I mean, Rhino, he's been. I just don't know if he needed to come. Like, it sounds bad, but I don't know if he needed to come back to WWE.
Probably not, but I guess it's nice of WWE to re-sign him. I mean, hey, he's doing better than the Brian Kendricks at the moment.
Yeah, fair point. But yeah, this match, like you said, weakest match on the card. It ends. Baron Corbin wins. This was the first time I've seen Rhino really, like, in a match where it's like dead even. Like, usually when I watch Rhino, he just goes completely over. And Rhino attempted the gore, and like, the crowd's going mental. Corbin ends up clotheslining him and then hits him with the end of days. And that's it. He picked up the win. That's about all I can say on it. I mean, there's not really much that really comes out of it. This was kind of like, it was just kind of just a match.
Help build the mystique of Baron Corbin.
Yeah, I think it gives him a stronger name to put on his list of people he's defeated.
Right.
But yeah, we'll move on to the fourth match, and that is Blake and Murphy and the other tag team. I didn't know their names. Like, I've seen them wrestle, which is weird, but for the life of me, I don't know the tag team's name.
Which is weird because they say it at the beginning of their intros every time they come out.
Big Cass and Enzo Amore.
Yeah. You don't pay attention when Enzo does his intro. He always says, "My name is Enzo Amore, and this here is."
Yeah,
By the way, best intro ever. Um, I won't say best intro ever. I'm overstating, but their intro is like, I can't say it rivals, but for a tag team, it's like right under the New Age Outlaws for intros. I love that intro that they did.
yeah. Um, this is good because it's seeing two tag teams like Blake and Murphy. They're actually pretty solid tag team. I'm not gonna lie. Again, you have to know Blake. You have to know. I think it's Murphy. Murphy's the Australian one.
Uh,
Yeah,
okay. I always get them confused too.
yeah. You have to know one of them because one of them's Australian, and they're actually having a nice title run. I have to admit.
I'm very, very surprised. And see, again, this is going to be the theme of this show, people. But unlike what WWE is doing, they've given like. Did you ever see when they won the title?
Um, they beat the Lucha Dragons, yeah.
You saw that match.
Yeah.
Would you have ever expected this would be the tag team champion?
No.
Like honestly, and the fact that they've been having an impressive run with it speaks volume of how the booking is, how things go in NXT. They're giving these guys an opportunity to get over, so if they eventually make it to the main roster, they'll have some recognition and possibly some audience retention with them. People might remember them. Oh yeah, those guys. They're pretty good. I want to watch them. You know, they do a good job of building up your rep on the main roster with NXT.
Yeah. That's a fair point. Now, the match itself, I have to say, Enzo Amore and Big Cass just such a unique tag team, like in terms of looks,
Yeah,
like
definitely.
visual wise. But I think the ending again. I'm not big on the endings where someone comes out, and
Yeah,
in this one it was, what was it, Alexa Bliss that made her return. Oh well, appearance in a sense, and she shoved Amore from the top rope, which was strange. Did you see? There was a moment in the match where Enzo Amore was like, he looked like he was passed out at the ropes, and the big guy's like carrying him to the top rope to like make him do the finisher.
yeah,
It's just one of the weirdest things I think I've ever seen.
yeah. Um, I mean, it was I mean, he was gonna just throw him on him, to be quite honest, but it was a distraction. He got knocked off target, and somehow Blake and Murphy escaped with those wins, courtesy of Alexa Bliss. That kind of threw me off though a lot right there, because why is she associated with them now all of a sudden? What made her do that? Is she beefing with Carmella to the point that she feels the need to mess with Enzo and Cass? The ending was kind of weird to me. It was a good match, but the ending, it kind of like threw it askew, in my opinion. I will say this though, Enzo seems to be getting a little better. So I don't know who they got down there teaching him, but kudos to you.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point, and it's just going to be interesting which tag team take those belts off Blake and Murphy. I think that's just something I want to see. And yeah, other than that, that match was again. I'm not big on, like I like the match itself, but I'm not big on the final result just being someone coming down, even though it was a female wrestler, but still. Moving on from there, we will talk probably, in my opinion, and I'm going to say this confidently, this was my match of the night. The NXT Women's Championship Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks. This match was insane. Like, I've never been so excited for a Divas match in my life. Like, you know what's weird? In the NXT, it's not even Divas. These aren't Divas. It's women. They're known as the women's champion, not Divas.
Exactly.
And this, like, Sasha Banks is the best. The absolute best, in my opinion.
She knows how to carry a match physically and mentally. She does a really good job of selling. She knows when to, like, throw in certain spots like the mocking, or when she's like on the run, she knows how to run and make it believe. She's really good. Thankfully she didn't follow in her cousin's footsteps like her family wanted, because we'd been robbed of her talent. I'm so glad that they didn't. She ignored her family, because she's really good in the ring.
That's so true. And credit to Becky Lynch. She's taken a new look. I mean, to be honest, her intro really reminded me of Edge.
The rock star type of thing.
Yeah, no, that works well. I think giving having Becky Lynch have her own identity and go out on her own is really good. Because again, she's good. She's good as well. The match was just, it was so back and forth, and it's captivating. It was exciting. The match was actually exciting, and there's not many matches these days that I'm actually genuinely excited about, like, while watching. So this was I don't know, Sasha Banks she's just so consistent. Like, all her matches are good.
Yeah, she is very consistent.
And Becky Lynch, like I said, she's developing pretty well as well. She's standing out. She's doing her own thing. It's just, holy crap. Oh my god. But Becky Lynch. Sasha Banks ended up defeating Becky Lynch at the end. Sasha Banks won by submission. I'm pretty sure the submission's called the bank statement.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that's what it's called, the bank statement. So, that was just a terrific match, and this is the type of diva stuff I want to see in the WWE.
Yeah, it's a throwback to the 90s, early 2000s diva, or
there was a moment on the outside where Becky Lynch threw Sasha Banks into the stairs. It was like that time on Raw when I can't remember who it was, but they threw Brie Bella into the stairs. I couldn't remember. Like, it just works so well having, like, that's just insane, seeing a diva get thrown into, like, the stairs or thrown into, like, the barricade or something.
Yeah.
But,
let me stop, because I was supposed to go off on a tangent. I think I've gone off on enough tangents, but just to say it in short, you said it all when you pointed out the fact of how NXT talks about their female wrestlers as opposed to WWE. WWE, they're divas. NXT, they're women wrestlers. There's a big difference, and it's clear that the more attractive side is the women's wrestler side.
it was just so exciting, and that is by far, that was the match that stole the pay-per-view. That match stole the pay-per-view. And to be honest, the last few times I've seen divas at a pay-per-view, they stole it. When I saw that fatal four-way when Sasha Banks won the belt,
that was ridiculous.
I gotta say though, how Becky Lynch got to first Sasha Banks in that number one contenders match, that even was a good match. Like, you had Charlotte doing the figure 4 with like the bridge. Like, I don't know what it's called. Is that like the extreme figure 4? Something
No,
like that.
she just again, she's so damn athletic that she can take something, a move that's already considered a great move, and just make it that much more spectacular by just doing that bridge. She's ridiculously good.
Yeah, no, that's so true. And that you had Becky Lynch pin. Was it Bailey? Was Bailey underneath that? I'm not sure who the third was.
Who did she get the title off of? I forget.
Charlotte. She beat Charlotte. That's how Sasha Banks got it.
So Charlotte was the one that she pinned. No,
No, Charlotte
in the
was
Fatal 4-Way. Who did she?
Yeah. Oh, who did she pin?
Who did she get?
She pinned Charlotte with the roll up.
I don't know why I don't remember her winning like that. Okay, yeah, I really don't remember the ending of that one. But yeah, the match with Becky Lynch, and now they've gotten Becky Lynch over, which I think is a good thing. I'm very glad that they did that for her because she's a good wrestler. And this just gives one more name to throw out to the main roster if they really want to take a serious run with women wrestlers.
Yeah. So, yeah, overall, that match just, for me, it's one of the most exciting matches I've seen in a long time. And honestly, anyone watching that hasn't watched this pay-per-view, just watch that match. Like, just go ahead and watch that match. You won't regret it. You will not regret it. It's up there with the Charlotte and Natalya match when they versed. That was incredible. It's just I can't even put it into words. That match was just so entertaining. So, moving to, we'll move on to the main event, which was Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens for the NXT Championship. Now, I mean, everyone knew that Sami Zayn, he's underdone. Like, in my eyes, he was clearly underdone. I guess he really just didn't want to pass up a title shot.
I'm not sure. Well, see, this is the thing, and NXT has a habit of doing this. You get the title, and it's usually a sign that eventually you're going to be coming up soon. So we just need you to drop the title. And then after you drop the title, I've seen people have these runs like the Ascension, to be quite honest. They left NXT, I believe, losing 3 straight matches to the Lucha Dragons. So maybe this is Zayn's 3 loss exit to the main roster right now. I don't know. I also think a lot of what happened had to do with the injury as well, or perceived injury. I don't know if he's truly injured or not.
Yeah. Well, that's a fair statement. And this match, first, I just want to say Kevin Owens, his entrance was perfect because he came out with the Cena shirt. Came out with the champ is here in the United States.
The shirt was fucking brilliant. And the fact that in the backstage interview with the guy, he does the "you can't see me" thing. Again, this guy does the heel thing so well. We all know that he's going to face John Cena at Elimination Chamber, but he's not going to let you forget that he's going to face John Cena because he's really, really digging at John Cena leading up to this match. And if you're a John Cena fan, you have to be absolutely livid that this guy has the audacity to come at your boy like that. But that's what he needs to do. That's what heels have to do. You come at the baby face and you are unrelentless in your pursuit of them. That's what I love about Kevin Owens. He has no fucks to give at all.
Yeah. No, that's a fair statement. So, Yeah, I mean, he's really pushing the match against John Cena. Obviously, it's his first main card match, and what a way to start a championship match against John Cena. If he won, it would be...
Well, hold on. I think they changed it to just a non-title match now.
Oh, even still, to go up against
Yeah,
someone like John
exactly.
Cena, your first pay-per-view is just incredible. So, back to the Sami Zayn Kevin Owens match. This match was brutal. It was brutal. I gotta say, Sami Zayn straight off the bat was just constantly on the attack, and you saw Owens. He was trying to get away, and it just like Sami Zayn was like relentless. Like he was just constantly on Owens, just beating him. But then the turning point in the match was on the outside. I'm not sure what Sami Zayn went for exactly. I think it's like he went to run and jump at Kevin Owens, and then Kevin Owens got him in that like power bomb and power bombed him on the freaking like ring, like on the edge of the ring.
Yeah, I was really like I'm looking at this thing. It's like Sammy's just taking it to him. You're like, yeah, get him. Like, come on, you got this. And then that just changed the entire complexity of the match. That was it.
Yeah, no, that's a fair statement because once that happened, you're just like, holy shit.
Yeah, it
And
was.
then
Yep, you're done.
yeah, he's just there, and you're just like, holy crap. But it didn't stop there, and I think that was the exciting part for this. Like, you can tell that Kevin Owens is playing such a good, like, heel. He's incredible. You had the medical staff and the refs are trying to push Kevin Owens away, but he just keeps coming. Owen was relentless. Once he saw Sami Zayn down, he's just kicking him and stuff. But then I thought it was more interesting. Owen puts Sami Zayn in the ring, and he's going to do... I think he was going for the power bomb or something along those lines, and William Regal came to intervene.
Yeah.
And William Regal was, like, doing something with his hands in freaking his face. He's, like, putting his hands in Kevin Owens' face, and then Kevin Owens just, like, freaking flattened him. Jesus. Headbutt. And he just looked like he wasn't going to stop. And it was at that very moment, the special guest made his way in.
Yeah.
What was weird though, because I had never heard Samoa Joe's music. So when his music hit, I wasn't sure who it was, and then I saw him, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. I think everybody was just like, oh, I don't think people could believe that. Hey, he's really, really here. And again, like I said, I heard I was talking to you in between how on the Ross Report, Jim Ross's podcast, he'd had not Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe on. He's been talking it up all week about shouldn't WWE get him? It would be nice if WWE get him. I feel like he kind of ruined the surprise for me, but at the same time, it still was great to see him show up in NXT. And I don't foresee him having that long of a stay there either, to be quite honest. But
You think you'll go straight up to the main roster?
I think he'll stay for a couple of months and then the main roster. There's no reason to have him wait through the whole entire process. He's been around for too long. A lot of these guys, he doesn't need the build up. He really doesn't need the build up. Then again, if you do bring him straight to the roster, where are you going to put him? So I guess it fits, and I'm glad that he's okay with it because while he's a main roster guy, he's probably going to put on a lot better matches in NXT. When you look at the pool of talent and the people who he's probably worked with over the years, the Finn Balor's, the Kevin Owenses, the Sami Zayns, so he's probably going to have a lot more fun in the beginning in NXT. So hey, I'm good with it.
Yeah, I think we can both agree with it. But so Kevin Owens is in the ring. You have Samoa Joe, he comes up. They have their stare-off, which was... It's always good to have a stare-off. It always works well. Think about all the stare-offs. You had The Rock and Hulk Hogan. That was a massive stare-off. I remember that one. But, like, stare-offs, they work so well in the WWE, especially if you have the right superstars doing the stare-off. And, what can I say? It was kind of disappointing that nothing really came out of it. Like, I kind of wanted to
It went on too long, to be quite honest. The stare down thing. It went on just a little bit too long. They should have cut it a lot sooner than they did. And I think it was better received.
You had Samoa Joe. You had Kevin Owens. We knew that he wasn't going to attack because Kevin Owens, at this point, anything he does, I feel, will be dominant because they need to have him looking as strong as possible going into the match against John Cena at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
But they kept Samoa Joe in there, and, I mean, Kevin Owens goes out of the ring, walks up the ramp, and then he comes back down, and you thought something was going to happen, but then he says, no, not now. Kevin Owens like, not now. Similar to what he said to John Cena, that they'll fight on his terms.
Right.
And Samoa Joe's like, I got my eye on you. And then he's like, I got my eye on you too. But definitely a good build around there. And I feel like Samoa Joe is just, it's a great person to have on NXT. And I can't wait to see what he brings to NXT.
Yeah.
Like, who he versus, all that stuff, and it's gonna eventually. You can already tell. I feel like Samoa Joe will verse Kevin Owens for maybe even the NXT Championship. Who knows?
Well, somebody's gonna have to take it off of Kevin anyway, because I honestly think that they're about to fast track him, Sami Zayn, and I'm thinking now Samoa Joe to the main roster. I just have this feeling that they're not going to wade someone like Samoa Joe through the long process anymore. You know, because he's mega over. Everybody in the world would love to see him in WWE. Why waste more than 3 to 5 months at the most? 3 months, I'd say, having him build some type of cachet in NXT. You know, getting people familiar with him and then push him out.
Yeah, no, that's true. So, overall, talking NXT, I feel this pay-per-view was really solid. I think the Sasha Banks Becky Lynch match took it a bit too exceptional. Like, that match just added a whole new...
Yeah.
I thought the main event solid. Again, Kevin Owens seems to be doing his thing. Definitely, could we go as far right now and say that Kevin Owens is currently the best heel in the WWE?
Yeah. I would accept that as a valid argument right there, because that dude just knows how to, yeah.
Like we want to. That's probably why they're fast tracking him, like, straight to the WWE. Because face it, this man is the minute the WWE needs someone like him. But yeah, it's just the pay-per-view overall. If I was to rate it, I would give this pay-per-view is about, say, and
for me, it's a solid 8.5.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Around an 8. I mean, had they had a bit of a stronger match, like instead of Baron Corbin and Rhino, maybe if they could have squeezed one more match in there.
Yeah.
And Hideo Itami wasn't injured, and he got in that, and it was a triple threat. I think that could have been just absolutely amazing. But with the hand they were dealt, I think they did exceptionally well.
Yeah, I do too. I definitely do. Now you see why I've been hyping NXT forever and today.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
If you guys didn't watch it, please watch it. NXT is worth it, but the pay-per-view would be a good way to introduce yourself to their style of wrestling. And I think a lot of people, if they actually tried it, especially if you're an older wrestling fan, you'd love NXT.
Yeah. Yeah, overall, we are definitely going to be covering from now on all the NXT pay-per-views. I'm not sure if we'll do them live. We'll have to see how it works out time-wise, like on our end. And
Yeah.
yeah, definitely going to do more NXT coverage. Maybe even, like you said, we could review NXT each week if we do the Raw reviews / NXT reviews.
Yeah.
But we'll definitely talk about that. Is there anything you wanted to add in terms of this pay-per-view?
No, but I think we pretty much set it off. Set it all. It was really entertaining, and it just makes you want to kick WWE's creative team in the nuts for the things they do with the main roster.
Yeah. Oh, fair statement. Fair statement. Yeah. So with that said, guys, do you want to wrap it up, Mike?
Yeah, so thank you guys for checking out this special. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Like Pete said, if you guys want to see more, just let us know. We'll keep covering their pay-per-views at least. Um, and that's about it. So with that, Pete, say goodbye to the people.
Yeah, guys. Thanks for watching. Like Mike said, definitely let us know. Just comment down below if you want to see more NXT coverage. And yeah, we'll keep pumping out the Raw reviews as usual, and hopefully we can get some NXT in there because it's turning out to be such an exciting show.
Yeah, so with that, we bid you guys farewell. See you on the next podcast. All right, y'all, we're out of here. Peace.